So Adam, thanks a million for coming in. So I guess you don't need as much introduction as the other candidates, but if you just want to tell people who you are and why you're running again.
Hi guys, my name is Adam Moursy. I'm the current Student Union President. I'm a third year Law Plus student. I was formerly the President of the UL Law Society and co-chairman of the UL Rugby Club. I guess I'm seeking re-election just to carry on a number of projects and carry on the work I've been doing over the past year, and I'd appreciate your vote.
So your first point in your manifesto is student engagement with the President. Some people have said that they haven't engaged that much with you this year. What makes you think that students should vote again for you?
I suppose the fact that I wouldn't need an induction period of, very often the induction period will probably last 3 to 4 months. It can be October by the time you're finding your feet, and then you basically have until February or March before someone else is getting re-elected.
Do you think that makes a huge difference? Or
I think it makes a significant difference. I think it gives you a huge amount of time to work on policies for the university over the course of the summer, whereas I found last year I was finding my feet, and my whole June was spent meeting people within the university and getting induction from the Student Union, and then after that July and August is a write-off in the university because that's when academics are either doing their research or going off on holidays. So I think the fact that will give you a 3-month period to settle down and put forward any proposals for governing authority or academic council in terms of student welfare or any issues in relation to academic issues for students. So that would be the ideal period to do it.
So do you have specific proposals that you'd plan if elected to work on over those 2 months? Or
yeah, well, there's stuff in my manifesto in terms of an international student hardship fund, stuff along the lines of discretionary bans and grading bans within the university. And like for instance, last year I followed on from a proposal by Derek Daly for I think it was called an education continuance scholarship, and that was for 50% scholarships from PCC for academic or for accommodation. So that was following on from his work that he had put in, and we managed to introduce them. So it would be that sort of stuff, and I think the idea of scholarships and seeking funding is a big one that if re-elected I'd work on with whoever the welfare officer would be. Cahill and myself have formed a very strong partnership with David Cronin, the chair of the UL Foundation, and he's shown a willingness to work with us and to seek further scholarships and bursaries to ensure that students are staying in college.
Brilliant. So one of your things that you had on your campaign last year was that you'd hold a referendum on fees. Now I know that situations changed in terms of that, but what would be your idea? Would you run that again, and if so, why hasn't it already happened?
I suppose it probably took us a back step in terms of that the student levy referendum took place in first semester, and we had sort of had an idea to hold them at the same time. We thought that one might cloud the other or vice versa, and they're both extremely important issues. My intention is still to hold it this semester. It was just difficult finding a date because of the way that Paddy's Day falls and Easter week falls, so even finding a date for this election was extremely difficult. So my aim is to try and hold it around week 10 or week 11. Failing that, regardless of whether they get elected or not, I'll be making a recommendation to council that it would happen as soon as possible next semester, probably before week 6. I think in light of joining any national body, it's vital that we have our own particular stance on fees. We shouldn't be following a national body if it isn't what the student wants. No, if students want free fees, then obviously that's what's going to be canvassed on. But there hasn't been a referendum or any talk of fees in my 4 years in UL in terms of getting an overall student opinion. I think it's very easy for the sabbatical team of any university or student union to say, students want free fees. You might find that students make an extremely informed decision saying we want graduate tax or we want a student loan system. And I think they should be given that option, to decide which one they want.
So on the grants point, then, I mean, you say that you would ensure, I think is the word you use in your manifesto, that the system would be organised. Isn't that a big promise to make?
I don't particularly think so. At the minute, it's just a case of balancing resources, and there hasn't been any particular push to SIA to try and reformat that and bring in an extra person. At present, there's only one person dealing with all the grant check forms. So the university could have your form, or you could have your check for over 3 weeks before it's properly processed and put into your bank account. And we've seen a lot of situations this year where students really are living on a very small income week to week, just waiting for their grant to come in. So that even a week earlier could have a huge benefit to a huge number of students.
Brilliant. So tell us a little bit more about your proposal on the discretionary bans.
At the minute, we're working with one faculty in terms of improving their use of
Which
discretionary bands. I can't say
Okay.
which faculty.
No problem.
But that's just in terms of UL is the lowest rate of 2-1s in the country, and that has an impact on their Irish Times ranking. So at the minute the university is looking at some way of improving that without devaluing the quality of the degree. So what we're working on a proposal is that there will be a better use of the discretionary band. So that's the 0.1 discretionary band beneath your 2-1 and beneath your 1-1.
Okay, so your proposal on lobbying Ulster Bank to give better. Sorry, I'm going to start that again.
Yeah.
So your proposal on Ulster Bank to give them get better terms for student loans. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
It's not particularly lobbying. I'd worked with the manager of Ulster Bank last year to try and get a proper student loan proposal put on the table in reply to what Bank of Ireland had offered last year, and which they'd said UL had signed up to. I suppose the terms of that loan wasn't particularly favourable to students. So what we've done since is we've sort of discussed the product, and we've tried to keep the interest rate as low as possible.
What's the rate now?
It's still in discussion at the minute. It obviously has to go to their new, I think it's their new team, or their new supply team is I think the name of it.
Because I think it's 10.5%.
Yeah, but even the Bank of Ireland graduate one I think is 10.8%, and that's a year's loan. But I think it was just the terms of repayment and stuff, and how quickly people have to repay. And I suppose it's probably working towards the line of what we are hearing to an extent on the national level, that there is this idea of a student loan system coming in. And I suppose our main objective is just getting as many students in as possible. And Ulster Bank have been very good to our students in terms of, if students know they're getting a grant, they'll forward payment of that grant regardless of, once they know it's been approved and you have a letter saying it's approved. So we don't have students waiting 6 or 7 weeks for one payment and then another 2 or 3 months for the next payment, that they will actually pay it up front.
So how confident would you be that you'll get a change on the terms? Because I think it's very important for postgraduate study as well, in that the postgraduate grant has been cut.
Yeah,
so I think that Ulster Bank, by being on campus, should be.
Yeah, I'm quite confident, and I think we probably have to recognise that Ulster Bank are fantastic with our students. They provide loans to our medical students specifically, which wouldn't be given in any other bank. But yeah, we're working on an undergraduate, and with the current postgraduate and incoming postgraduate present, we're hoping to put forward a postgraduate loan as well. And that goes back to your saying that the postgraduate grant has been cut. We have lobbied the university to introduce as many postgraduate scholarships as possible as well, and a huge number of the faculties are offering grants to our postgraduates as well, because we have to recognise the importance of postgraduates in UL and their contribution to research.
So just before we wrap up, do you have anything you'd like to say before we conclude?
Yeah, just to say, I had a brilliant year. I love my job. If I didn't, I wouldn't be rerunning. The hours aren't particularly favourable and the wages isn't that great, but I genuinely come in every morning and I enjoy my job. I suppose that's my main reason for rerunning, and I'd hope that everyone would recognise that, and hope that we have done some good work this year, and that I could be given the opportunity to carry it on, and hopefully they'll vote for me.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.